What do I got to do for you not to do that? Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So just wanted to go over a few problems. Please use the examples to figure out what you need to do. Most of the examples mimic whatever problem you're doing. So we're converting metric units of length by using conversion factors or the prefix chart. So we're going from millimeters to meters. So remember that, well, the way that I think about it is I'm going to use the equivalency, right? So if I have millimeters over here, I'm going to use the 1 millimeter equivalency, and then I'm going to end up with whatever I'm going to convert to in the numerator. So you see here it says to convert the unit length of To convert the unit of length using conversion factors, use 1 millimeter equals 0.001 meters. And then you just multiply, okay? And then this is how you get your result. We'll move on to moving on to something that's a little bit different. So we're going from 800 feet to meters. Okay, so let's look at the example. So let's look at the guided solution. All right, so I'm going to go from feet to meters. So I know I need to end up with meters, right? So 1 foot is approximately equal to 0.305 meters. So I'm again going to put 1 foot in the denominator so I can cross out the feet because I know that I'm going to end up with meters. And I'm going to use that equivalency. And then it says multiply and round to 1 decimal place. So I'm going to multiply 800 to 0.305. And I'm going to round to 1 decimal place. So I get 244. Okay. So use the guided solution as well. And if you are still stuck, you can use the example. Okay. And then go through the example. All right. Of course, if you use the guided solution, as you can see here, you have to do another question. So for this one, we're going from 5 quarts to liters. So I'm going to use the example again. And you see that the equivalent for quarts, it's 0.95 liters is approximately equal to 1 quart. So we're going from quarts to liters. So you're just going to multiply that 9 to the 0.95. So for mine, it's 5 times 0.95. And I get 4.75. Moving right along. So when you get to the next section, you have square roots, right? So the square root of 25 is 5. And that is because 5 times 5 is 25. So you have to have two numbers multiplied together that give you that result. And then when you undo the squaring, you get the square root. For ones that have a fraction, so I'm going to do the square root of 1, which is 1, and then the square root of 16, which is 4. Now, what does that set you up for? That sets you up for learning how to do the Pythagorean theorem. So all right triangles have a 90-degree angle. And so because that exists and because that is true, I can set up something with the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to show you an example, right? And here's the Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? But in order to figure out what the missing side is, I have to know that when I figure out whatever side I'm looking for, so for instance, this one is a squared, I must take the square root of both sides in order to figure out what that side length is, okay? And then here they show you, you can check it, okay? So just go through the examples, use the guided solutions in order to figure out those sides. And then here in 27, you have a real life application, but you do it the same exact way. So I'm going to do 24 squared plus 10 squared, and I end up with 26. And it makes sense because the hypotenuse has to be the longest side. And then you have some problems where you are going to estimate, right? Because you want to understand where the square root would end up as a decimal. So you just need to do the square root on a calculator, okay? Let's see here. Okay, so as you can see on a calculator, you are going to figure out, right, what the decimal is, and then you'll decide what it's between. So this one is asking you, what is the square root of 11 between? And you see here it's 3.317, so it's between 3 and 4. And then you have problems where you need to find the perimeter. The perimeter is just counting up all the sides. So you're just going to add up all the sides. So we have 46 plus 46 plus 61 plus 85. 238 centimeters. Okay, so for this one, I can multiply the side times the side for the area. So it would be 10 times 4 3/5. So that would be 23. So 20 times 23 over 5. Which would be 46. And don't forget your feet squared. I tend to make that mistake. Okay? So again, just go through the problems. If you get stuck, you get to try another one. You get to use the examples, the guided solutions, the explanations, and your book. As always, thank you for watching. See you next time.